Good morning and welcome to this CRM webinar, which is one of a series of webinars run by Collier Pickard. My name is Alan Joenn, and I'm the Marketing Director at Collier Pickard. Collier Pickard is a small consultancy. We specialize in CRM. The organization has a 20-year track record in sales, marketing, CRM, and customer touching work. And during our time together as a team, we've implemented over 400 CRM systems. That gives us the opportunity to operate now as an independent consultancy and offer advice on CRM evaluation and CRM systems, as well as being a provider of systems, and we do that on a multi-platform basis. We're not tied to one particular software vendor. As an agenda for today, we want to use the title The Truth About CRM and start to take you through a process of what CRM actually means and how you get started, and things that you might need to consider as you try to make things easier in terms of changing and in terms of building a plan for CRM. At the moment, all your phones are on mute. At the end of the short presentation, I'll open them up and take questions. Just so that you can see the content of this presentation, there are only 18 slides in my slide deck, and that includes the head and tail slides and the introduction and agenda that we're looking at now. So the presentation will not take up the full hour that's allocated for this webinar, and there will be time for questions at the end. So let's get into the subject title, which attracted you to this webinar in the first place: the truth about CRM. It's our opinion, and that of many thought leaders who operate in this marketplace, that CRM is not about your own policies and procedures. It's not just about making your organization more efficient. It's actually about making your organization easier to deal with from a customer point of view. So we'll take a quick look at the customer journey in a moment, and that will allow us to identify what points in the customer journey might be relevant to your organization in CRM terms. Organizations with lots of intellectual brain power, like the Harvard Business Review and Aberdeen Research and Gartner Research, collectively they all are of the same opinion that CRM done successfully can add somewhere between 5 and 15% to the bottom line of your organization, or rather an organization that does CRM correctly. Unfortunately, there's no algorithm for calculating a return on investment. CRM is now mature in terms of the culture that it embraces and the software tools that are there to support that culture. And over the last 20 years, if it were possible to build an algorithm for ROI, then somebody would have done so. The very absence of this means that it's something that always needs to be worked out on a organization by organization basis. And as a result of that, there's no strict best practice manual. The way that CRM will benefit your organization will be different from the way it benefits the next, and therefore some careful planning is required if you're to get the most out of CRM and try to get the sorts of returns which are articulated by the organizations I mentioned just a moment ago. One quote that we like a lot is from Martha Rogers, who's a thought leader in one-to-one marketing in the US. Her comment is, CRM cannot be installed, but rather it must be adopted. This obviously talks to the issue of CRM being a culture rather than just being a piece of software which you can install. So, having said that CRM is a culture, let's actually have a look at the thing that people most often go to first when they look at CRM, and that's CRM software. CRM software today, all CRM software on the mid-market and in the enterprise market, all offer these things. They offer a dashboard proposition for giving you visual information about what's going on within the whole of the database and your customer touching world. They will hold address books of target clients, of existing customers, of suspects in a marketplace that you'd like to address. They'll hold notes and history of all the contact that you have with these people. And then all CRM systems then break themselves up into three key areas, that of tracking business opportunities, sales opportunities, of tracking the campaigns, the way you communicate with people through your marketing world, and the customer service that you offer to uniquely identify cases and issues which need resolving as a result of you doing business with this organization. In order to do that, CRM systems must hold calendars and to-do lists, and they must have the ability to record time and events, so that this information can feed both historically what's gone on in the sales, marketing, and customer services areas, but also allow you views into the future as to what you do have planned. The smaller column on the right, alerts and dialogues and workflows, these aspects of CRM are almost always there in some degree within CRM software packages. However, the way that these are delivered can vary quite radically from one package to another. So we're in a situation where there's a lot of me too in CRM software. They all do the same things. They all offer the same benefits in terms of business processes, but they can do it in slightly different ways. In terms of their appearance, there is some commonality now in software, even though we're saying that CRM is not about software. This slide actually illustrates this fact, in that here are three completely different CRM systems, each of which at the top level offers you a dashboard to view key data that's held within your system, and then on the bottom row, a drill down into the detail from that dashboard, which is always these days in row and column arrays. So anyone who can operate an Excel spreadsheet and navigate their way around data filtering, sorting by different columns, ascending, descending, and so on, anyone who can use an Excel spreadsheet these days can use the mainstream CRM systems which are on the market, because their presentation is identical to that of a row and column array in an Excel worksheet. They also, as you can see from the middle slide on the bottom, they also offer drill down into the row and column data, so that you get a pop-up record card to show you basic details that are there for that particular record, whether it's tracking an opportunity, a contact, a target client, or whatever. So, if it's not all about software, what is it about? And for us, what CRM really means is this process of aligning the customers and markets in which you operate and your customer journey within those markets to the customer touch points you have, the various teams that operate within your business. So the customer journey is the one of starting with somebody that doesn't have a relationship with you and ending with somebody that always has a relationship with you and hopefully even becomes an advocate for your services and makes it easier for you to acquire new clients, new customers. So the customer journey is this three-stage process of acquiring new customers, developing relationships with them, and retaining them as satisfied customers for long periods of time. Now, if the attributes of that customer journey can be reflected in the team cultures of your customer touchpoints, your marketing team, your sales team, and your customer support team, then you will be building a business which is customer centric, which is trying to make it easier for people to do business with you at the various stages along the customer journey route. We believe that there are two things that you must do in terms of developing your team culture. And one is you must give individuals that you expect to adopt a CRM culture a reason for doing so. You have to be able to answer the question, what's in it for me, at the individual level. We also need to be able to answer the question of how we manage people with this CRM tool in tow. So managing your operations, aligning your management to the customer journey. These are things that must also be done as part of this cultural setup that's focused on the customer journey. The terminology in this slide is very much geared towards commercial organizations. If you're a professional services organization, then the concept remains the same, except that now your sales function will be one of fee earners and your customer service function will be one of administration. However, the client touch points that you have will remain the same in terms of their broad functionality, attracting people through your marketing efforts, measuring customer and client satisfaction through your marketing efforts, identifying business opportunities through your fee earners, delivering these services, and from an administration point of view, making sure that everything runs smoothly from the client's point of view. Now, if we go back to the top left of this slide, we've identified some of the measurements which might be in place when you set out on a CRM route. Goal setting will be various. It might be that you have goals to operate in a new market. It might be that you have goals to gain more market share within a current market. There might be goals to introduce new products or new services so that you have more things to sell into your existing customer base or to your existing clients. And once these goals are set, they will break out into the various tactical plans that you have in place, which must map onto this customer journey, this acquisition, development, and retention journey that customers and clients have with you. CRM will be most successful within your organization if you can put performance metrics at this level. If you can know where you are as a start point for CRM and where you would like to go in terms of the figures I mentioned earlier, market share, new products, whatever. So if that's the way that CRM must align itself within your business, how do you actually get started on developing this approach and making yourself more customer centric, more focused on the customer journey? And for that, I'm going to turn to the Harvard Business Review. We have a lot of time for the Harvard Business Review. Everything they publish is incredibly well researched, and with the academic backup that they have of the Ivy League university, we think the quality of their output is terrific. One of their papers a few years back was specifically addressing CRM, and they distilled down the essence of their research to these 4 questions that you can see here, which they said any organization embarking on a CRM initiative must answer these questions, must pose and answer these questions for themselves. So the first one, is it strategic? The view of the Harvard Business Review research was that if CRM is just a tactical initiative for a sales department or for a marketing initiative, then it isn't actually going to help you make your whole organization customer focused and focused on the customer journey and focused on making it easier for customers and clients to do business with you. So the conclusion was that if it's not strategic, don't bother. If, however, it is strategic, then you need to answer the the second and third question, you need to identify the pain points within your own organization, and you need to understand where you need perfect data to move through CRM within the culture that you're setting up for the organization. So in terms of where to start, identifying where it hurts is most easily done by having a technique, a methodology, an approach which will allow you to do that. The approach that we use inside Collier Pickard is that we identify the tangible aspects of your strategy, growth, product development, market development, the things we talked about a few moments ago, and break those out into the tactical plans that must be in place in order to deliver the strategic aims that you've set, the top-level goals that you've set for your organization. Against each of these tactical plans, you should then be able to break those plans out into their execution. What do people need to do on a day-to-day basis in order to do their jobs in such a way that these tactical plans, as they relate to the customer journey, happen easily and efficiently? Customers find it easier to do business with you, and therefore the tactics have worked and they roll back up to achievement of the strategic goal. Once we've identified all these execution levels within the organization, we can pull those together and define the CRM platform. We can define it at the business objectives level. We can define it at the education level, culturally. What do we need people to do? What do we need to set their expectations as? And we can define it also as a level of software functionality and the technology that we're required to deliver that software functionality on people's desktops. One of the dangers with CRM is that if you start looking at software rather than looking at your strategy first, if you start looking at software, it's easy to become wowed by the features and functions that CRM software has managed to build into itself over the last 20 years. It's easy to become absorbed in, oh, that looks really great, and we should be able to use it, instead of identifying where your organization has got pain. Where does it hurt? Where are you currently not aligned to the way the client needs to deal with you? Where are you not aligned to the customer journey? So, having identified where it hurts, we should get a list of priorities of mandatory pieces of our CRM platform, mandatory pieces of education, of maybe some culture change, and also software and technology configuration. We should be able to then drill further into the information that's required, the data that's required to make this customer-centric approach run very smoothly. There are various ways of thinking about data and capturing data in a perfect sense. One would be to look at information in a managed, structured way. Have I got valid email addresses in order to send out my next email shot? Have I got perfect phone numbers in order to do some voice of the customer phone research and assess customer satisfaction? However, there are bits of information that represent data about clients which sometimes can't be put into structured formats. What are the key conversations that have happened, not just between me and the customer, but between my colleagues and the customer? What are the key bits of information which have been sent to us as documents or answers to survey questions that can't fit the tick list because there was some additional information about preferences? So defining perfect data is very much about looking at the role of the way that individuals do their job as aligned to the customer journey. What information do people need before they have a customer contact? What information do they collect during that customer contact, and who else in the organization uses that information to do their job subsequent to the customer contact. If we can define these aspects of perfect data in this way, then it becomes very easy to develop the team culture and to get high adoption rates, because you can easily now explain to people what's in it for them. You can say your job gets easier, your collaboration with the customer gets easier, your collaboration with your colleagues internally gets easier, and managing this customer journey through the whole of the organization becomes much more successful and much less time consuming and hassle. Now, if we're going to start here, we are almost always on some kind of culture change. We're going to ask people to do things slightly differently with this new CRM culture in play than from the way they did them before. And we therefore need to move people along the timeline of this graph from the status quo, where they are today, to the vision that we have, where all the key stakeholders in the organization have genuine ownership of this project, of this commitment to change, and work with the new culture in a positive way, in a contributive way, because they understand the benefits it's bringing to them, to the way the customer journey operates, and to the way the business becomes successful. We therefore, as we move people through this journey, we ideally need a start point in terms of the Harvard questions that we asked before. Where does it hurt, and where do we need perfect data? At Collier Pickard, we've developed a method of trying to assess where people are today and therefore define things that can improve their customer-centric operation over time through improvements in culture. And we call this CRM Maturity. The idea is that if the CRM culture creates a world where consistent, relevant, and accurate information is collected by all the people that have customer or client touch points, and that this information is accessible to the people around the organization where they need it, when they need it, then we have a good foundation for CRM. We have the ability to then integrate the different functions within the organization such that the single source of data, this single version of the truth about target clients, prospects, customers, customer satisfaction, these single sources of data become the truth, and people can work on them without having to go and ratify their validity before they take some action. The classic example in this context, where there is lack of integration in CRM maturity terms, would be the mailing list. A marketing person decides that they will put an invitation out to an event. They'll put a list together and they'll email the list to all the relevant people in the organization to ratify that it's okay to invite these people, and to ask whether there are any other people that should be invited that need to be added to the list. The replies all come back, a new list is compiled, and the information has gone out. Now, had that organization had a solid foundation in CRM maturity where the data was accurate and was trusted, then at this integration layer, all that work would not have had to happen. People would have trusted the data, compiled the list for invitations, and sent it straight away. CRM maturity increases in an organization as the processes which are now in place following integration, CRM maturity allowing integration, you can get to the point where you know that the integrated processes work, and therefore you can start to automate them. The process layer in CRM maturity is the layer where business automation, workflow, and real identification of best practices becomes the driver for improving the way that you deal with the customer and the customer going through their journey of acquisition, relationship development, and long-term retention. Ultimately, in CRM maturity terms, you can get to the position where you can actually transform the way that you run the business, because the data and the relationship between various aspects of the customer journey and the way you're handling them will allow you to just focus on improving the business and transforming the way that you deal with people in your markets. So, what do we need then to go out to the market and look for a CRM system? Many people will say that they should build a scorecard. And our advice to you is, if you do this, if you take this approach, and it's a very valid approach, then don't include all the features that you find in CRM software when you're building your scorecard. All the marketing features that are there, all the database functions, all the sales and sales opportunity and forecasting functions, all the customer service function. It's a very long list of things that could be part of your scorecard. And it's very easy to get impressed by good demos of software from people demonstrating software to you and think that these features become important. We think that the most appropriate way of building a scorecard is to go back to the Harvard Business Review model and make the list specific to you and the way that you work. So make the list, score features of CRM culture that you need to adopt and the way that CRM software needs to work, the attributes it needs to have. Make them specific to your pain points and your information needs. And try not to do it in isolation of some of the key stakeholders in your business. Make the development of the scorecard a collaborative process. You might think that once this list is built, it becomes important to weight some of the items. It might be that some features of culture change or some attributes of software and processing through software are more important than others, in which case weighting the scores on various items on your scorecard can become important. You then need to build a plan for CRM which will include the right people within your organization. If CRM is a culture change journey that your organization is going to take, you need to engage a sponsor, and the sponsor needs to be at the highest level in the organization. The most successful sponsorship engagements that we see through successful CRM deployments is where the chief executive or the managing director is the sponsor of the program. You need to then work out where the various stakeholder groups are within the organization, the people who've got most to gain from using the system or most to lose by not taking part in it, and make sure that you get the right representatives from the various stakeholder groups and make them part of the project plan. Engage them in the building of the scorecard, engage them in the commitment to change graph that we saw earlier on, and engage them in delivering messages back to their various teams. Within a successful CRM initiative, you then need three very important people. Somebody that will champion the data in the system, somebody that's passionate about the data being right to the benefit of the individuals using the system, to the customers interacting with you as a business, and to the management of the business through the data that's within the CRM system. You also need an IT champion. You need to identify an IT champion, somebody who will break down obstacles to the fact that a particular user can't get at information he or she needs for some reason. Somebody who will work effortlessly to make the delivery of CRM data fast, efficient, on the right devices, to people who are working internally in your office and to people who are out on the road traveling around or working from home. And lastly, you need a project manager that's not just going to see through the selection of a CRM tool, but the process of culture change and becoming accountable for the delivery of some of this top-level goal, the numbers that we mentioned in relation to your customer and market strategy. If you build a plan of that type involving those people, your project will be more successful than trying to do it with just one or two people given the job of going away and looking at CRM. All the points that I've made through the course of this presentation so far come from experience of working in this field since it emerged. In the very early 90s, the term CRM, customer relationship management, didn't exist. There were only contact management systems and sales systems. The term CRM emerged during the middle of the 1990s and evolved into the systems that you see today. In the last decade, integration and consolidation became key. Some of the early CRM projects were not successful. There were some very large-scale financial failures related to CRM, and all of the failures could be tracked back to the fact that the CRM implementation wasn't integrated into the whole culture of the business. Somebody had tried to put a piece of software in the same way that they might put a new invoicing program in to handle sales invoices, and that approach didn't work. So the last decade was all about integration of CRM into cultures, into processes, and consolidating CRM with the customer journey and identification of the customer journey. This decade, the changes that we've seen and the experiences that we've gained over the last few years, the beginning of the current decade, have focused very much on digital marketing. The change in social media, in the way that people regard email, in the way that people disregard junk mail that comes through the post. There's been a huge change in the way that people use digital technologies. And these have become very much embraced by CRM. And the way that you engage with acquiring new clients and developing customer relationships has changed enormously. And CRM now embraces digital marketing and social media in some quite clever ways. The other thing that's happened is that more and more organizations have in fact become more mature within their CRM cultures, and therefore workflow processes, which I'd identified at layer 3, the process layer, in my CRM maturity model, these are becoming more and more important in the way that CRM delivers, CRM software delivers easy culture change and easy improvements in organizational touch points with the customer and the customer journey. So everything that we've talked about so far is based on Collier Pickard's experience. The team at Collier Pickard are based on our experience of working over this last 20 years through this evolution of this area of business of CRM. So my final points are that if you're embarking on a CRM culture, you must plan and plan and plan. And there's probably more benefit in planning before you go out to the market and start talking to people than there is in trying to do the plan once you know what's out there. Internal assessment will determine where there's resistance to change, where people will understand that setting their job expectations, realigning their job expectations is important. But not everyone will get it, and they won't all get it at the same rate. So keeping an eye on the different stakeholders in your CRM initiative and having this full-time project manager who looks at how to make the CRM culture and the CRM toolset more and more effective over time becomes really important in making sure that everyone does get it. And understanding the way that you need data, what people need before they make a customer contact, what information they're going to deliver and what information they're going to collect during a customer contact, and who else in the organization needs to use that data. Understanding that is something that's important before you start looking at software, because software will confuse you as to what it can offer, and you'll find it very difficult to differentiate between one package and another. The last piece of advice for us from us in terms of making CRM successful is to don't try to do it too quickly. To take small steps, to run a pilot group on everything you do before you roll it out across the whole of the organization.